Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jamie. This is Monday the 1st. Hope everybody had a nice Halloween. If you got to go out, we didn't really do anything, but I'm just going to show you what I'm doing this week. A couple quick ideas. As far as options go, most of the options I play are in Robinhood. I'm showing you what I have because as I get questions about stuff that I'm learning, again, I'm just a middle-aged dad, regular guy, retail investor. So I've been doing it for a few years. There's been really accumulating information, mostly through YouTube, and a lot of the people that I watch, I filter out. Some of them, like, I really, really like this guy or girl, and the way they deliver information, and they're consistent, and they seem to be pretty genuine and authentic. And I try to apply it, and it's basically networking. So what I believe is a lot of the success I've had is because I've learned it through somebody else, where they suggested it, and then I try to share it with my friends and acquaintances and family and things like that, and bounce it off each other. The other day, I had a young guy, 18 years old, tell me about DWAC. I mean, I hesitated, I was distracted, but he told me about it when it was around 25 bucks, and I was going to buy 20, or no, it wasn't that much. I forget how much it was, but I was going to buy 25 shares. That's what it was. I think it was 50 bucks or 45 bucks. And it went all the way up to $175. I would have made 2, 3, 4 grand with that, depending when I got out. And I was going to do it. Something happened and I got distracted because I was like, hey, you know what? This looks like a good opportunity. Let me grab 25 shares, because it was like whatever at the time it was like $1,000. I said, all right, so $1,000. I'd be willing to jump in on that, but I didn't execute. I didn't implement, and I missed out on that opportunity. But that was just an example of somebody sharing something they heard that was on their radar that I wasn't looking for, that I didn't see. So that's why I do this. So this and Robinhood, I brought this back down to $1,000. At one time I had I had 50, 60 grand in here. And I'm just trying to get it back up to 10 and show you how I'm doing it, right? So I'm not really doing cryptos in here, at least right now. And I do have 100 shares of AVIR, but that's only because, which I'm down, but I'm not worried about it. And I'm selling a call, just as an example where, I mean, if you have Tesla, you're going to make thousands of dollars. With a company like this, you're only going to make 50 to 150 bucks, depending on the expiration date. But it's a good example of, regardless of what the stock does, I'm going to collect that 58, 60 bucks, and I think AVR will go back up. And I'm not going to get into all that because I'm not an expert. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just kind of sharing what Jamie's doing. Middle-aged dad, 4 kids, working guy, just kind of sharing this is what I'm doing. So AVIR is a call. I'm going to, when it ends, I'll collect my premium. I don't think it's going to go to $15 before it expires, but yeah, you never know. And either way, I make money. Activision, Pinterest, AVIR, which is the pharmaceutical, GRTX, Snapchat, and Vuzi are the one option contracts I have. They're all calls. Some are further out than others. I generally like to get them 6 months out to a year or longer. And after this cycle ends, I mean, I had locked in my profits last week. I had about $800, $900, which I pretty much all given back. But I've given them back, meaning, like, if I was to close out all of these positions that I have today, I would just be back where I started. For the previous week when I started doing this. But I think that Pinterest before January 21st will most likely get over 50. So I'll probably get that $300. I've been down on one. I had fasted one time and I was down $800, and it was like the last couple days or last day or so, and it went the other direction I thought it was going to go in. Before it expired, it plummeted down, just like they can go up, shoot up. They shot back down. And I was up $3,000, right, from going negative $800. So when I see this at this point, I don't get too concerned, because the most I could lose with Pinterest, for example, let me show you. When I opened this, it cost me $545, to open that contract at a $50 call. Okay. Now, it didn't go the way I was hoping it would go, but that's what happens. But do I think, if I look at the Pinterest, if I go over and here in Webull to look at a better chart, for example, been on a downtrend, but there's a lot of gaps there that I think will fill. I mean, right now it's at 44 bucks. You know, when I got it, I think it was, 47, 48 or something right around there. And I was like, oh, or it was closer to it was closer to 50, because I usually am like just in the money or slightly out of the money. And I'm like, all right, well, if it goes up, it cost me a little bit more, but if it gets back to 50. So do I think it's going to get back to 50 soon? I think so. I mean, a lot of red candles there. The RSI is pretty low. It's down close to 30. Those are probabilities, right? Just like if you're 20 years old and you're saving money now, and I'm 50 years old, which I'm not, but I mean, I'm closer to 50 than I am 20, then you have a better probability of saving money and turning that into millions of dollars if you're making the right investments over the next 20 years. Then for me, you have a lot more time, because in 20 years from now, I'll be close to 60, and you only be close, if you're 20 years old, you only be 40, right? You still be younger than I am today. So you have more probabilities of making money. So I think that for the time frame I've set, and it was a shorter deadline, but I think I can get back to 50 or above and fill that gap. I could be wrong, right? But that's my play. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just me and what I'm doing, middle-aged dad who is, investing. So that's it. So that's how I look at stuff. And I'm like, all right, I try to lock in profits where I can. So with the option stuff, I'm like, all right, I already closed out the other ones that I made the 800, 900 bucks on. And right now I'm down, but I haven't locked in these losses. I mean, I can either go a little bit further down, but they're going to hit a bottom. They can only go so far down. And the same token, when they go up, I only have a certain deadline where they can go up so much. But if they get up back to, so for Pinterest, for example, if it gets back up to 0, I'm still not going to sell depending where it's at. I would hope to make a couple $100 and then I'd close it out. Even if it could go way up higher, but I'd rather lock in the $200-300 than to hope that it will fill the gap before January 21st, 2022. If it was January 2023, maybe it'd be a different story. But to buy an option contract, let's just see here. If I bought one right now, and it was January 2023, right, a year longer, and now right now it's at 40, almost 45. So to buy it either in the money, which would be 10-10, can you see that? I'll circle it. In the money, one contract, $42 call, it would cost you $1,010 to buy one contract. If you buy it slightly out of the money, it would cost you $883 for one contract. So my contract cost me $545 that ends in January 2022. So if I was to buy one, this is usually where I buy it, like just under the share price. So when I bought that other one, it must have been just under $50. It was probably, or just a little bit over $50, because I bought a $50 call. So it was probably $52, $53. So it's come all the way down to $44. So it's dropped quite a bit. And that looks pretty sloppy. But that's all I was just trying to say, is that I depending on the premium you're willing to spend, I would rather spend $1,000 on Pinterest for a year versus the $500-600 I spent, and say, all right, let me just sit on that. But now I'm tying up that money for that time frame and taking it out of the game. I don't have $100,000 that I want to invest in option contracts. I don't. So I'd like to see a return a little bit quicker than that, but I like the safety of it being a year out. But anyway, that's as far as my diversity pool, how I invest, the money I have, my strategy here as I showcase what I'm doing in Robinhood, is I'm hoping to bring you guys up to 10 grand here and showing you how I did. Because when I started, I had $500. I got over 50, 60 grand. Took some out, reinvested, lost some. And, one time I got up to 20 grand. I lost all of it. But now I'm back to around 3 right now, and I'm going to bring this up to 10. And I wanted to show you how I'm doing it, right? And as I document it each week, it's good for you to see the good, the bad, the ugly. Cryptocurrencies, I'm at a place where do I keep this money? Where do I invest it? I was watching somebody called Stock Up with Larry Jones. I really like that guy, by the way. He's really, what a cool guy. And he has some really good information. He's probably my age or a little bit older, if I had to guess. I'd say his 40s, maybe 50s, but when he speaks, you can just tell he's just he's just got that, I don't know, seasoned guy, somebody who's been around for a little bit, and he shares some good. Anyway, so he was just saying like, hey, you should save, you should put your money away every week. Forget about it. Set aside $150 a month. Like people that don't have a lot of money, and whether you start with zero, if you do an investment calculator, 35% a year with most of these companies annualized. If you invest in a company that's having good growth year over year, in 20 years, you're going to have over $1 million, right? $1 to $2 million. Versus if you put in a savings account, it was like ridiculous. Like if you just put the money and saved it, it's like you don't even cover inflation. So it's just funny how we don't learn this stuff, right? So of the cryptocurrency diversity that I'm investing, like if I had a pie, if I had I'll just draw, like if I have a circle of how I'm investing my money, and I say, okay, over here in this area, I'm investing into options. And then over here, in this part of the pie, I'm investing into cryptocurrencies. And then in this part, I'm investing in the stock market, right? Like, however you are splitting up your money and investing, just we share it off each other. I had a 18-year-old kid tell me the other day about DWAC, and look where it went. It went up to $175 a share. So it doesn't matter if they're a teenager or if they're in their 60s. There's another guy in their 60s that told me about, oh my gosh, he was telling me about a couple companies, and I think one of them was the GRTX. And granted, I didn't get all of it, but that had dropped down. It's not going to show up here, but that one had dropped down quite a bit, and I bought 381 shares, and then it shot up $1. So I could have made $400 or $500 with it, but I got out a little bit early. But this is just through networking, so it's good to have different sources that you get information from, and you keep educating yourself, and you get a little bit sharper, you get a little bit more knowledgeable, a little more comfortable. And I'm thrilled to get text messages from friends and acquaintances and people that say, hey, thanks for the tip. It wasn't because I'm a genius. I probably heard it from somewhere else, and I just shared it, and then the other people decide if they want to get in or not. So right now, like in my Coinbase account, I have different platforms where I put my cryptocurrencies, and I'm wondering, do I put money and save money in Coinbase versus a wallet versus a cold storage? That's what I'm kind of debating right now. I'm afraid of the cold storage because what happens if I lose it? What if I can't remember it, or I break it? Then if I have $100,000 in there or more, then it's it. There's no way to recover it, I don't think, right? But if it's up in the digital world safely, I like that because I can access, as long as I have the seed phrases or I get access to it, I can get back to this money. So anyway, so I'm using the same principle here. Here is $200. Over a longer time, you know what I mean? I haven't put really much money in here, but I would like to take the Coinbase account and do the same thing. I'm curious to see if I can get this one up over 10 grand, because I went from 200 to almost 5,000 in a very short time, because I see the volatility with the cryptos there's more opportunity there. Now with Coinbase, there's only so many coins you can buy. I did really good with the Shiba. I had 53 million tokens in this account. I kind of converted and sold some, and I bought some Decentraland, which is Mana, through a tip, and I did well. I made a couple $100 with that one. Solana, it's expensive, so you can't buy many. I've been kind of playing with them, but I'm trying to keep my fees down, because every time you do something, it costs you a couple bucks here, $5-10 there. It's almost like Ethereum gas fees and so on and so forth. But I'm trying to add, but I do spend some of this money. I have a Coinbase card, and I like that because when you spend it, you have your card. I'm basically converting cryptocurrencies to cash. I get some cash back. Right now I'm doing Bitcoin at 1%. But I'm going to use this one as well as a showpiece to say, all right, look, other week I was at $1,000, $1,500. I got up to 4,600, 4,700. Right now it's back to 3,600. I got out of Shiba Inu for 55 million tokens in Coinbase, because I do have more in other places, but in Coinbase, and I put some of converted some of those tokens into Mana, Sol, Engine, Fetch, so on and so forth, because I like to kind of spread it out a bit. Now, granted, Shiba Inu could explode, right? So that's why I'm like, well, let me at least keep the 20 million in here, and I have 10 million in Webull or so, and then another 100 million, and some other places, and then I have some in Shiba Swap, which is another video. I'm not having great luck with Shiba Swap so far. I just don't fully grasp it. But I converted 50 million Shiba tokens into Bone tokens, which are worth double what they're worth, but I still think there's more money in just the tokens. But anyway, that's a different topic. But these are all examples of where someone who is less experienced or more experienced can say, I can, that looks like something I can do. That's something I can relate to, versus someone who's showing you 50. I mean, I see this one guy, he's a $1 million account, right? Not a lot of people can compete with that, right? I can't. I don't have $1 million that I can, play with. But I can take 100 grand, I think, and turn it into $1 million if I make the right moves. So, but I just want to start with these smaller things, because it's it's for most of the people that I talk to, it just makes more sense to showcase each week, a couple times a week, whatever I can do. Say, here's what I'm doing. Here's some of the tokens I'm involved in here. And it's a conversation you could have for hours. Right, and all the different things. I have a guy at work who's all about SafeMoon, right? He has a major, like billions of tokens in SafeMoon, and I hope it works out for him. I really do, but I don't want to be just tied up in one token or one stock, right? If I say, I just own Tesla. I mean, granted, Tesla's a great company, but it's also $1,000 a share right now, $1,100 a share. So to own 10 shares of it, you'd have to have 100, right? Or you have 10 grand, and some people don't have 10 grand. Or if you want to own 100 shares of that, you have to 100 grand. So again, if I use 100 grand, that takes me out of the game. Where with some of the money, I'm like, all right, this is how much money I have. I don't want to tie it all up in Tesla, right? Even though Tesla's a good company, I think it's good to have diversity and be involved in different things, like that little pie chart I showed you. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. And then to lock in profits along the way, and to take 10 grand, right, which is the example I'm trying to show you in these different things like Robinhood or Webull or Thinkorswim, and say, okay, I started with 1,000, let me get to 10, and then see if I can take the 10 and turn it into, and so on and so forth, and you can see the success and failures along the way. But anyway, that's it. That's what I got going on this week. I'll be curious to see how as I show these option contracts that I have this week, how they play out. In fact, I should take a screenshot of that, of where it's at right now. And the same thing with Coinbase. So if right now, hey, as I do this video, I'm at 3,600. Let's see, in a week, right? Again, I'll screenshot it and just say, okay, am I going to be up over 3,700, or am I going back down? So let's see with the plays. And as I put some of my own money back in. Or do I just use the money that's in there and grow it and kind of spread it out to some of these other tokens? Because they're all going to pull back, go up and pull back, and so on and so forth. So let me know what you're thinking, if you have any ideas or suggestions. But that's what I got going on. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great Monday.